I've been thinking of all the warning signs we've seen lately. Wash your hands, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, stay home, and it gave me the idea to search the web for all types of warning signs. Some of these can be helpful, and you probably have not seen any of these, although maybe you wish you had. And then, if only a fish could read. Some of them are going to make you chuckle a little. And then I actually question, are these really necessary? Then there are those that seem to show up when things are looking bad. But what about the warning signs that God gives us? They are the ones that are really useful, but sometimes we just don't want to hear them. They may go against our wishes or thoughts, and many just go against the culture. They are called narrow-minded, intolerant, and sometimes even hateful. God gives us these warnings because He knows what's good for us and what is not. They are not rules to bind us, but like guardrails on a dangerous road. They are to keep us safe in a world that offers dangerous things, behaviors, and enticements. If you're interested in a list other than the 10 Commandments found in Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5, try reading Paul's letter to the Galatians, chapter 5, starting in verse 19. But rather than spending time on these, let's take a look at the positive that Paul said and see how they should apply to us. Starting in the letter to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 10, honor one another above yourselves. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. In Paul's letter to the Colossians, he writes in chapter 3, verse 12, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Now think about the word clothe. Clothes may be what people notice first when they see you. Will they see compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience in you? How are you doing with these? I know I need to work on them myself. It is so easy to focus on the negative, especially when we see it in others, that we lose track of how we're to represent Jesus in all of our actions. Remember the statement Jesus said about judging others found in Matthew 7? Why do you look for the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? God's warning signs are there to protect us. But let's not focus only on the dangers of life that are ahead. But let's be proactive and practice what God tells us to be. For those who claim to be followers of Christ, the fruit of the Spirit should be noticeable in our lives. What are these things, you may ask? In Galatians 5, starting in verse 22, Paul writes, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Obviously, none of us score 100% on these, but we should be moving toward that 100% as we watch out for God's warning signs and focus on His positive commands. Become a signpost that says there are good things up ahead. Think about what made Jesus attractive. It wasn't just the miracles He performed, but the truth that He spoke. Some of it was disturbing, and that may be why some walked away from Him, and others tried to kill Him. Just like today, some do not want their lifestyle being disrupted. But just like the guardrails that I talked about earlier, they are there to protect us from dangerous situations. Wouldn't life be a lot different if we all practiced what Paul shared earlier? I will close with one of my favorite Old Testament passages found in Micah 6:8. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Good advice from the old to the new.